Hello everyone, welcome. It is Juliet here, and today we are going to be learning how to make this very pretty earring, which I am calling Hidden Oasis earring. And this is made using some supplies in the Tropical Breeze collection that I curated at Potomac Beads. So if you have the Tropical Breeze collection, you can make this. And if you don't, I will put links for everything down below so you can go and check that out. Now, the collection does go in and out of stock depending on whether Potomac have all of the supplies in stock. But if you look at the collection and you go down, it actually tells you all the different items that are in it. So you could always find a substitution for something if one thing is missing, okay? Anyway, it's very pretty. So let's go through the supplies and I'll show you what you need. And if you want to, you can always do it in a different colorway. You know, you don't have to use my colors. Okay, so first of all, we have some 8O seed beads. These are Miyuki rounds, Picasso opaque seafoam green, and the Miyuki color is 84514. We have some Miyuki 11O rounds. These are coated. These are Aztec gold. The Miyuki number 114588. We have some 15O rounds. These are Toho. TR, that means Toho round, 15994, and they are gold lined rainbow crystal. Okay, and then you're going to need a second color of 11O. Now these are delicas. You can use delicas or you can use a second color of rounds. I'm using these delicas because they are part of the collection. And this color is DB286. But like I say, they are just kind of accent beads. So you'll notice them at the top and bottom and the sides, and there's one on each side here. So it's just to kind of break up the gold a little bit. So you just need an accent color, okay? So basically 2 11s, okay? Then you're going to need some 4mm fire polish beads, and I am absolutely in love with these. These are the Etched Capri, and they're so cool because they're like kind of almost copper, and then they're really aged looking. Some of them you can kind of see through. I really love the finish, the really like old looking finish, and also I like the way it works with the gold, you know, the more kind of copper color. You could even have a sort of aged copper earring if you wanted, would go well with that color there, okay? So you will need 8 of those per earring. So if you're making a pair, you'll need 16 fire polish beads. I have here some MiniDuos in the white shimmer or white luster. So these are not super duos, these are MiniDuos. You only need 4 per earring. They are just little accents on the side right here, okay? You will need some 3mm crystal bicones. These are the crystal AB color, and they are just right here to give a little bit of bling in this lower area, okay? A little bit of shine right there, okay? Then here I have a 6mm pearl. This is my drop right here, okay? And these are the color Sand, which is a really pretty color. Really like it. Then here I have an 8mm crystal Chaton, and these are the light Azore color, okay? It's such a pretty color, kind of pale blue-green color. Very, very pretty. Then you're going to need per earring 4 StormDuos. So we're using the Aztec gold if you have my collection. Just make sure you do check your holes first to make sure that they are all open. And lastly here we have some 3mm pearls, and these are the cream color Potomac pearls, 3mm. You will need 6 per earring. So if you're making 2, you'll need 12. Obviously, earring wire of your choice, a size 10 beading needle, and today I'm using some dragon thread, and you're going to need about 4 feet of dragon thread, or you could also use Fireline, 6-pound or 4-pound, or you could use a nylon thread. It's really up to you, okay? All right, so let's get started. Okay, so to begin, go ahead and find yourself at the end of the thread 4 inches, and just grab it there so that your beads don't fall off the end. You're going to pick up 4 of your 8/0C beads. You're going to push that down to where you marked your 4-inch tail, okay? So here's my short end and here's my working thread, and I'm going to sew through all 4 again from the short tail end, and that should form a loop, which will then we will pull, okay? And then you're going to go again through the first bead where the short tail is, and that will pull it into a kind of cross shape. When you pull the threads, it's going to form kind of a plus sign, okay? So my working thread is coming out the top and my tail is coming out the bottom here of the screen, okay? So you're going to pick up 1/8, and you're going to move forward into the next 8/0 bead. Repeat, pick up another 8/0, sew forward into the next 8/0 bead. Pick up another 8/0, sew forward into the next 8/0 bead, and one more 8/0, and then you're going to sew forward through the next 2 in order to form this little square, okay? This will be the back behind our chaton. Okay, so it looks like a little square like so, okay? Now we're going to pick up a 15/0, an 11/0, and a 15/0. Going to sew into the next corner. So I'm coming out this way, so I'm moving forward this way into the next bead. Again, pick up a 15, an 11, and a 15. Sew forward into the next bead. Another 15, 11, 15. Sew forward into the next corner. And one more time, pick up a 15, 11, and 15, and sew into the last corner, and then move forward until you come out from the next 11/0. So you're going to sew through the 8/0, the 15/0, and the next 11/0. Okay, so it looks like this. You're now going to pick up a 15/0, one of your fire polish beads, and another 15/0. You're going to go straight into the next 11/0 at the next corner over. Repeat that, so a 15, a fire polish, and a 15, and sew into the next 11/0. Again, 15, a fire polish, and a 15, sew into the next 11/0. And one more time, 15, fire polish, and a 15. And sew into the next 11-0, and then sew up through the 15-0 and the first fire polish that we added in this round. So you're going through the 11, 15, and the fire polish. Okay, so give it all a pull, and what you want is the fire polish should be cupping upwards a little bit, okay? If you're pulling tight enough, okay? Just grab onto your tail, make sure it stays underneath your work there, okay? All right, so coming out from our first fire polish bead, we're gonna pick up a 15, 11, and 15. We're going to sew again through the same fire polish that we're coming out of. So I'm coming out and I'm sewing in the other side like this. And then I'm going to also sew forward through the 15, the 11, and the 15 that lead over to the next fire polish bead. So those are the outside 15s here, not these inside 15s that are going into the 8-0s, but the outside 15 you want, okay? See how we have an inside 15 and an outside. You want to make sure you're going through the outside 15s to get to the next fire polish bead, okay? And pull, and this will just hang on the side, and you will be able to see a bit of thread here. Don't worry about that right now. We're gonna hide that, okay? Okay, when you get to the next fire polish, again, you're going to pick up a 15, an 11, and a 15. You're gonna sew again through the fire polish, and then make your way through the outside 15, 11, 15 over to the next fire polish bead at the next corner, okay? And you're going to repeat, picking up a 15, 11, and a 15. So again, through the same fire polish, then make your way over to the next fire polish. And if there is a bit of thread, please do not worry, okay? Just try and get it as tight as you can. 15, 11, 15. Again, sew through the same fire polish and make your way over through the next 3 beads to the first fire polish where we added our beads on the outside. Okay, so you have these beads just hanging out on the outside of your fire polish beads at the moment, and this is just looking a little bit weird right now, but that's normal. Okay, so we're going to sew straight up into the first 15 and 11 on that first fire polish, and it's going to seem like a really long way, but you can do it, okay? Just sew into that, and it's going to pull these beads inwards, okay? See right here, it's kind of coming in a little bit. We're going to pick up a 15, one of our delicas, and a 15, or if you're using an accent 11-0 instead, you're going to substitute that for the delica. So 15, delica 15, you're going to sew straight into, and coming out this way, so I'm going to sew straight through just the 11-0 at the next corner, okay, and pull that. And it's going to pull it in and kind of make a little bridge across right here. See that? We're going to repeat. So we're going to do a 15, a delica, and a 15. We're going to sew straight into the next 11-0 that's outside of our fire polish bead. Okay, and pull. And so you see I now have 2 little bridges. I'm kind of making a little cup for my chaton to sit into, okay? I'm gonna again pick up a 15, a delicate and a 15. Again, so into the next 11. And one more time, a 15, a delicate, and a 15. And I'm going to sew into the first 11 on that first corner next to the fire polish. Okay. So we now have kind of a ring like this. Okay. Now you're going to want to loosen it up a little bit so that you can get your chaton in there. Okay. So grab your chaton and try and get him in there as well as you can. You might need to kind of lift the edges up over the edge of the chaton. It's kind of a little tricky at this point because it's not really held in there. Okay. If you can just kind of get it in, you'll be doing okay. All right. So it's not solid or held in properly at all at this point, okay? Don't panic, just get it somewhat in there, okay? So all the way around these beads another time just to tighten it in a little bit and just try and keep it from popping out as much as you can. And when you're doing this, make sure that you are not sewing into the 2 15s that are kind of on the outside, going down to the fire polish beads. You don't want to be sewing through those ones. You only want to be sewing through the 11-0 and the 15 Delica 15 that we added in the last round, okay? I find it helps if you kind of squish the chaton down so that the point sits in the middle of the 8 O's and just kind of hold it like that while you're doing it. It will tilt and tip and really annoy you, okay? But don't worry, we will get it settled in there, don't worry, okay? Okay, once you feel like that central ring is pretty tight and okay, all right, you don't, maybe your chaton is still moving around, but as long as this ring of beads feels like it's pretty tight, okay, you're going to sew down through that first 15 that is leading, the threads leading down into the 4mm fire polish beads. So sew through that 15. You're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. And then you're going to sew up through the next 15 over at the next fire polish bead and the 11. Okay, so it's gonna kind of make a little arc like this, all right? Then you're gonna sew down the next 15-0. You're gonna repeat this on all 3 sides. So you're gonna pick up 3 11s, and then you're going to sew up through the next 15 on this side and 11 at the corner. Okay. Again, sew down the next 15. Pick up 3 11s. And sew up through the next 15 that is leading from the fire polish bead. And one more time, you're going to go down the next 15. You're going to pick up 3 11s. And you're going to go up through the last 15 and the 11-0 at the corner. Okay. So that should kind of help this feel a little bit more stable now. Okay. Mine certainly does. So hopefully yours does too. Okay. All right. So we're exiting from the 11 above one of the fire polish beads. You're going to sew forward through the 15 and the first two 11s we just added. Okay. You're going to pick up a 15-0, a pearl, and a 15-0. And you're going to sew again through the same 11 that you're coming out of, and then you're going to move forward all the way until you get to the middle seed bead over here. So you're going to follow this path right here. Okay, so just sew through that middle bead again, through the next two 11s and 15 and 11 to the corner. Okay. And plus you're going to continue down through the 15 and the first two 11s in the next group. Again, we're going to pick up a 15, a pearl, and a 15. Again, you're going to sew through the same bead you're exiting from, plus the next few beads up to the corner. And sew forward down to the next middle bead. Okay, and don't worry if these are a little crooked or whatever at this point, we will fix that. All right, so you're going to do the same 2 more times. Okay, and when you're adding your last one, you'll sew again through that seed bead, up to the corner through those beads. And then you're going to continue down through the next few beads. So you're going to go through the 15, the first two 11s, and then the 15 that is next to the pearl. Okay, so you should be coming out from the 15 right before this pearl. You're going to pick up an 8-0. You're going to sew through the fire polish bead. Pick up an 8-0. Sew through the pearl. You're going to repeat on all 3 sides. So you're going to pick up an 8-0, sew through the fire polish, 8-0 pearl. Okay, all the way around. Okay, I'm adding my last 8-0 on, and I'm sewing through the first pearl, and then I'm going to continue forward through the next 8-0, the next fire polish, and the next 8-0. So I'm going to exit right in front of the pearl. Okay, so it should now look like this. You're going to pick up a 15-0. You're going to check the holes on your StormDuos just to make sure you can get through them all. Okay, so StormDuos, there are 2 sides to a StormDuo. There is a kind of cupped area that cups inwards, and then there is a humped area that humps out. Okay, so a cup and a hump, or sometimes they call it a scoop and a hump. here we have a scoop, here we have a hump, okay? So you're going to pick up going into one of the scooped sides. So depending on how your bead is, you're going to enter into not one of the hump sides, but you're going to enter into one of the scoops, okay? Then you're going to enter into a hump. So looking at this here, I can see this is the scoop and this is the hump, so I'm going to sew into the hump. And in this way, your two beads are going to be opposite each other like this, okay? Then you're going to pick up another 15-0. You're going to sew through the next 8-0 right here, okay? And these are just going to kind of hang out underneath like this. You're going to pick up another 15-0. You're going to pick up 2 of your MiniDuos, and again, you're going to want to check those holes before you do. And one more 15-0. You're going to go into the next 8-0. Okay. You're going to pick up an 11-0, and you're going to sew through the pearl. Pick up another 11-0, sew through the next 8-0, fire polish bead, and 8-0. So I'm going through 1, 2, 3 beads right here. Okay. Again, you're going to pick up an 11-0, go through the pearl. Pick up another 11-0, go through the next 3 beads. So 8-0, fire polish, 8-0. Okay. Again, here we're going to pick up an 11-0. You're going to sew through the pearl. Sorry. Another 11-0. You're going to sew through the 8-0. Okay. And then you're going to pick up a 15-0, 2 of your MiniDuos, and 1 15-0. And you're going to enter into the next 8-0. Okay, so we have this. Go ahead, pass again through the 15-0, through the StormDuo, and the next StormDuo, the next 15-0, and the next 8-0. Okay. Pass again through the 15, the 2 MiniDuos, and the 15, and you're going to go all the way through all of these beads again. So you're going all the way up through the 15, the 8-0, through the pearl, the next 11-0, until you exit from this 11-0 at the top, okay? Okay, once you are coming out from the 11-0 at the top, you're going to pick up 5 15-0s. And you're going to sew again through the next 11O and 8O, and this is going to be our little hanging loop for our earring. Okay, it's just going to sit over the top, and what we'll do is we'll pass through again and we'll skip that middle one and we'll form it into a point. Okay, so we're going to make our way down until we exit from this gold bead right here. So pass through these beads until you exit right there. Okay, so when you're exiting from the second gold bead, the one after the pearl on that side, okay, you're going to pick up a delica or your secondary 11O and then an 11O. You're going to sew into the outside hole of the MiniDuo. Okay, like this. You're going to pick up 1/8O, so through the next MiniDuo outside hole. You're going to pick up 1 fire polish bead. You're going to sew through the outer hole of the next StormDuo. Like this. Okay. You're going to pick up a bicone, and then you're going to pick up another StormDuo. Let me just check my holes really quickly. Okay, so you've got a bicone, and then you're going to go into the scoop side of the StormDuo. Okay, so there's a scoop. I'm entering in the scoop, okay? You're going to push that down, and this is going to sit like this, okay? You're going to pick up 1/15O, 1/8O, and 1/15O. So a 15, an 8, a 15. You're going to go into the lower hole of the StormDuo. Okay. So it's going to look like this. Then we're going to pick up another StormDuo, and we're going into the hump side this time. Okay. So here's my scoop and here is my hump, okay? So sew through the hump. And that is going to sit like this, okay? I'm gonna pick up again a 15, an 8O, and a 15. I'm going to go into the upper hole of my StormDuo. I'm going to pick up a bicone, and I'm going to go into the hole on the upper StormDuo, the outer hole, okay? And just take a second to try and kind of get the tension even down here in this area, okay? And once you feel like it's pretty good, you're going to pick up your next fire polish bead. You're going to sew into the outside hole of the next MiniDuo and get this tail thread out of your way. Okay, and you're going to pick up an 8O, go into the next MiniDuo. You're going to pick up an 11O and a delica, and you're going to sew into the gold bead right before the pearl on this side. And you can go ahead and go through the pearl as well. Okay, so it should look like this, and this may be not really wanting to sit properly. Try and get it to sit flat. Okay, don't pull too tight at this point. We are going to add more beads down here, so you don't need to worry if it's a little bit floppy. You just don't want like a ton of excess thread, okay? All right, so we are coming out from our pearl. We're going to sew up over the top. We're going to skip this middle bead in order to let it pop out. So just go ahead and sew through all of those 11-0, 8-0 fire polish, 8-0, 11-0, and the first two 15-0s. I'm going to skip the third 15-0, and I'm going to sew down into the fourth, fifth, and continue on down. And that should make this guy, if I can get the thread down below, and give it a pull, this will pop out. See how that's kind of formed like a little triangle now? So that'll be good for our earring finding to sit in that little gap right there, or a jump ring or whatever you're going to be using, okay? All right, so we're going to continue down again until we exit from our fire polish bead right here. So just follow this outer path of beads until you get to the fire polish bead. Okay, once you are coming out from your fire polish bead, you're going to pick up two 15-0s, one pearl, and one 15-0. Okay, so two, a pearl, and then one. And you're going to sew down into the 15-0 and the 8-0 at the corner down here on the lower StormDuo, okay, like this. Then you're going to pick up a fire polish bead. You're going to pick up a delica. You're going to pick up your 6mm pearl. And a 15-0. Okay, so fire polish, delica, pearl, and 15-0. You're going to push that all down. You're going to skip the 15-0 and you're going to sew back up through the pearl only. Okay, so sew back through the pearl. And you may need to hold the pearl and give your thread a pull to tighten it all up. Okay, so just kind of tug on the pearl and pulling your thread, and that will tighten everything up right here. Okay, then you're going to pick up a delica and another fire polish bead. You're going to go up into your 8-0 and your 15-0. So we're not entering into these two 15-0s on the inside, okay? You're just going into the 8-0, right? And give it a pull, and again, this may take a second to kind of settle into place. You're going to pick up one 15-0, one pearl, and two 15-0s. And you're going to sew up into this fire polish bead right here. And you can go ahead and continue forward through the MiniDuo as well. Okay, so it now looks like this. So we're nearly done. You're going to sew up through the 8/0 and the next MiniDuo. And the next 11 in Delica. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to go straight down this 8/0 right here and the 15/0. And you shouldn't be able to see the thread in there. It should be pretty hidden, okay? You're going to continue forward through the next two inner holes of the MiniDuos. And you may have to do one at a time because of the angle that they're sitting at. Okay, you're going to continue forward. We're going to go through the purl right here. And we're going to go all the way up until we get to the 8/0 here. And then we're going to cut back down, right? So once you've gone up into this 8/0, you're just going to circle through here and then come back down on this side, okay? Okay, so once you get to the 8/0, you're going to pass straight into the Delica and the 11/0. Okay, you're going to pass through the MiniDuo, 8/0 MiniDuo, and fire polish bead. You're going to enter through the StormDuo right next to your bicone, okay? And go down through that bicone. You're going to pick up one more bicone and you're going to go up into the bicone and the StormDuo on the other side right here, okay, like this. So you should now have 3 bicones in the middle there, okay? And then you can continue on up through the next few beads. Okay, so now is the time that we are going to reinforce anything that feels loose. I like to continue around and go all the way down and through here, my drop at the bottom again, okay? And then you can tie off your thread. It's really kind of up to you how much reinforcing you want to do, but this bit, like, see right here, it's kind of a little uneven and weird, so I'm going to go and try and fix that area down there by reinforcing. And then, like I said, you can tie off your thread. So I will come back once I have finished that. Okay, so I finished my second earring and I think these turned out really, really nice. I cannot wait to get a better earring finding for the top and then they'll be ready to go. But I just love the way they look. I think they're really cool. I hope you try these, and you don't have to stick to my color scheme, obviously, like I said before. There's nothing particularly strange in here. That you probably have everything that you would need already in your stash. So if you make these in another color, as always, I would love to see them. So please do, if you're on Facebook, go and join Jules and Rose's Beading Buds so you can share and we can all see your colors and ooh and ah over them, okay? And do check out my collection at Potomac Beads. It is a really great deal. For the price, you're getting way more than what you would pay if you bought the individual items. Okay, so anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you very soon for another video. Take care. Bye.